That you read the Quran. I did read the Quran. It took me 6 months to read the Quran. I'm from Texas in the United States, and I want to let you know that this book was not scary at all. A lot of people are actually scared of this book in Texas. You can tell them about it and they really, really dislike it for no, I don't want to say no reason. There's a lot of propaganda behind it. But this book in general, I really read it word for word and it was not scary. I've read the Bible as well. Not scary. Did have some things, you know, in it, yeah. But so did the Bible. And I didn't find it to be terrifying. And I think that most of it, all of it, was very good. The only thing that is scary are the people in this world. So the people in the world are scary, but this wasn't.
يتضمن القرآن الكريم العديد من القصص والمواعظ التي تركز على القيم الإنسانية والاجتماعية مثل العدل والرحمة والتعاطف والإحسان.
Hey guys, hope you're well. My name is Elsie and I'm a Christian reading the Quran. And I've just got through the first 2 surahs, Al-Fatiha and Al-Baqarah. Surah 2, I think the title in translation is the Heifer. And it's so interesting because that's a direct link and reference to the Bible or to the Tanakh. In Numbers, is it Numbers 19? Where it speaks about, you know, the laws of Moses or the laws of purification according to Moses and how they were asked to like bring a red heifer and sacrifice it for, you know, for purification, etc. So I think what I've learned so far reading the Quran is how closely interlinked, well, essentially, yeah, like how we share the same kind of like history, and there's so many references in the Quran or in these 2 kind of like chapters so far to, I guess, Jewish history. Or Abrahamic history, let's just call it. You know, they speak about Moses, they speak about David, Goliath, they speak about Saul, and yeah, I think it's so interesting because, you know, in the New Testament, like they be calling out the Jews, Christians be calling out the Jews in the New Testament, and in the Quran they be calling out the Jews and the Christians like by their name. So I think that's really interesting, kind of like seeing the lineage and the history and the, you know, the follow on. In terms of like how we all interact and interrelate with each other. What I do like about the Quran so far is, you know, the first surah Al-Fatiha. I like how it, you know, the book starts with, you know, in the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. You know, it starts with kind of like that praise and that is it honoring of God, which is lovely. I also like, you know, there's a strong emphasis, you know, on you know, God knowing what we do and the intentions of our heart, you know, never being hidden from God, and you know, what we do here, you know, matters in the life thereafter. And I think it's just nice to see it like stressed so often in this book. Yeah, it's just lovely. I'm quite enjoying it so far. I can see kind of like where we delineate in terms of the Christians, the Jews, and the Muslims. But I think, yeah, it's just interesting to kind of like see how in different ways we've experienced God, and how He speaks to us and calls us, and the different, you know, emphases. That's not word. He places on like the hearts of the Jews, the Christians, and then the Muslims. Very, very interesting.
يمكن أن يلتقط الأشخاص من القرآن رسالة السلام والتعايش السلمي بين البشر، وقد يجدون فيه إلهاماً للتعامل مع قضايا العدل والمساواة في المجتمع.
50 mummies were discovered in Egypt, and they were believed to be the old Egyptian kings, including one believed to be the pharaoh that chased Moses, referred to as Musa in the Quran. Fast forward to the 1970s, the French doctor by the name of Dr. Maurice Basseli studied this mummy, the one believed to be the pharaoh who chased Moses, and found that there was actually salt in his body, his lungs, in his throat. Not only that, but he also found that the mummy had signs of internal injuries, but yet his skin was well preserved. So these findings, Dr. Basseli was able to come to the conclusion that this mummy had in fact drowned, and it was possibly a horrific drowning. In the Quran, tells the story of Pharaoh chasing Musa, Moses, which is what he's referred to in the Bible. Pharaoh ended up drowning. When the Pharaoh was drowning, Allah told the Pharaoh Today we will save your body so you can be a sign for people who come after you. Obviously, people at that time didn't realize, for 1881, no one had any idea that there were mummies in Egypt. Now, I want to point something else out relating to the pharaohs of Egypt. Now, after Dr. Baselli discovered his findings, he decided to study the Quran alongside the Bible, and because he just couldn't figure out how the Quran was so accurate. And he wanted to look to science at that time to see if there were any other miracles of the Quran. And sure enough, there were many. So Dr. Baselli actually ended up converting to Islam.
القرآن يحتوي على أسلوب أدبي فريد ولغة جميلة، وقد يتجاوب البعض مع هذه الجوانب الروحانية والتأملية للقرآن.
This is absolutely unbelievable. You have to listen to this verse. In the Quran, in chapter 27, verse 88, it says, "Now you see the mountains, thinking they are firmly fixed, but they are traveling just like clouds. That is the design of God, who has perfected everything. Surely he is all aware of what you do." This was revealed by the Quran over 1400 years ago. The ancients used to believe that mountains are fixed forever. They never move. But the Quran claims here that mountains actually move. Scientists today using modern technology have in fact proven that yes, mountains do move little by little over millions of years. How could the Prophet Muhammad or any other ancient individual have correctly guessed that mountains move over millions of years? We can't see this happen with our own eyes. Truly incredible. This has to be from God. And if it was just lucky guess, how many guesses can this guy get correctly? He was never proven wrong, even once. Absolutely unbelievable. This is something that the Bible doesn't have, something that the Gita doesn't have, something that the Vedas doesn't have, the Book of Mormon. No other scripture talks about these many scientific facts that people could not have the time, and only modern science proves to be true and has never been proven wrong even
يعتبر
once
القرآن كتابا ذو رسالة واضحة ومباشرة. يعرض القرآن الكريم فلسفة الحياة الإسلامية والمفاهيم الأساسية للإيمان والعبادة
والأخلاق. To those of you that aren't
والأخلاق.
religious now, I know it seems like I'm just a bit crazy. However, with Islam, the crazy thing about it is the Quran, which is the holy book, it's first person God talking to humanity. So, for example, in the Bible, there's John, Peter, Mark, all these different guys that wrote about what Jesus taught. With the Quran, it is literally first person God talking to you. So, it's the creator of the sun, the earth, gravity, the heavens, everything that created a guidebook on how to live life, since who's a better being to teach us than our creator?